Yasas. What happens when you take two vibrant brothers that are descendants from the Greeks in Constantinople, embracing their American roots, and then ask them to serve up rich tales of traditions, cuisine, childhood memories, and a hearty dose of humor? You're about to find out. This is Baklavine Banter, your passport to all things Greek.
Welcome to Baklava and Banter. I am Petraki, and you are?
Soto.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our last few episodes. So it's been about 2 weeks since our last episode, so let's give a quick synopsis of who, when, what, and why.
Okay.
So last time we left you, I told you I was going to go to San Francisco.
That's right.
Which I did go. Now, I got we were there last year around this time. And, San Francisco, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly right now. I think the Chinese need to visit more often so that they clean up the city a little more often. But with that being said, like Ghirardelli Square, let's talk about this, okay? Now, I told you I was going to go to Ghirardelli Chocolate. Now, you have to keep in mind with everything that's going on in San Francisco, that's happening in a lot of major cities, is you have rampant crime with very little repercussions for those who are committing the crimes. So middle of the week, which typically you would see a lot of people in San Francisco, it's pretty quiet. I was literally flying over these hills. Like, I thought I was going to lose it at one point in time. I went up this hill once. I was like, it was a 45-degree angle. There's no exaggeration about it. It was like the opening scenes of, I remember the show in the 70s, The Streets of San Francisco.
Yeah, or Bullet, the movie Bullet.
Oh, yeah. Like, I came somewhere off this hill. Like, I almost crapped my pants because I was going so fast. And in a way, you have to go fast.
Yeah, to get up the hill.
Up the hills. I mean, it's 45 degrees,
Yeah,
and you come
crazy.
over. And there's a trolley because you're on the trolley line, so you gotta be careful as you come to the peak of it to slow down because you don't know where that trolley's gonna be. And the last thing I needed is the rice-a-roni imprinted on the front bumper of the car. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, but here's my thing with Ghirardelli. Listen. Ghirardelli Square doesn't change much. I went down. It was, when I tell you quiet, it was quiet. I can't remember the last time I pulled to a parking garage there, and 80% of the parking garage was empty.
Wow.
It was that. But, it seemed safe. There was a police presence available. But here's my thing, Ghirardelli. How can you, with a straight face, and I know I'm talking, when I say Ghirardelli, I'm talking to those in power of the upper echelons of the company.
Yeah.
How in good faith can you charge $24 a pound for Ghirardelli chocolate? Come on now.
Wow.
Come on. Seriously. Come on, G. Really. Come on. Like, listen. You go in there and the sign is, and I love how they kind of make it, it's only it's $12 a half pound.
Right.
But the thing is like, you don't know how many pieces are in a half pound. Right. So you're going, you think you have a half pound. There's no scale. The only scale that's available is when you go pay.
Right.
Right. So I'm just curious that, what makes you think that you're that type of echelon of chocolate? Now, I get it that you're a tourist trap. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But $24, it's almost as, you remember, and I believe it's still there in Times Square, that M&M's has their M&M store there, and you can make your own mixed bag of M&M's because you get to choose the colors you want, and they have the whole spectrum of the rainbow there, but they're charging $15, $16 for a pound of M&M's. Right. I'm like, have you been to Sam's? Do you know how many M&M's I can pick up for $16? So I'm just saying, Ghirardelli, I get it. You're a tourist trap. You're not worth. Unfortunately, you're not worth $24 a pound. You're not. I like when I told you I went to Switzerland. I was in St. Moritz, and there's a chocolate company called Lauderay, and they're in some of the high end malls. They've started making an inroads in the higher malls here, and yeah, you know, is the chocolate expensive? Yeah, because they ship it from Switzerland every other day. And is it $50 a pound? Yeah, but apples and oranges. When I went to St. Moritz, it was $38 a pound. And it's a type of place you go into. Nothing, it's not, everything is open. It's freshly made or, freshly shipped and all that. And you order chocolate by the kilo, half kilo, quarter kilo. And it could quickly add up. Yeah. Did I spend $175 on chocolate? Indeed, I did. Was it delicious? 110%. Was it better than Hershey? 100%. Was it better than Ghirardelli? 110%. Like Lindt chocolate, the Lindt truffles you can get?
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the way, most of them now, Lindt, if they're at an outlet store, they're running a great deal around, especially for Black Friday. So, for those of you out there who like the chocolate truffles from Lindt, go on their website. They're running their Black Friday special. I know it already started today. I think it goes all the way through next Sunday after Thanksgiving. 300 truffles, $75. That's a deal. I can tell you exactly. That comes in a
Mm.
bag. You get a bag, and they tell you, 75 truffles in a bag. Do you want to know how much 75 truffles weighs?
How much?
2.17 pounds. I know that to the pound because every time I go there, I ask them because you have to. They know.
Right.
So I go and I weigh it, and I purposely put a few extra in, and then when you weigh it in, they'll be like, oh, it's like 2.25, 2.26, and most time they're like, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Who needs 300 truffles?
If you're using them as gifts, it's a good
I
way to do
gotcha.
holiday gifts with them. So what you do is you can buy some
Yeah.
saran, some of those like saran bags, the plastic bags. You get a couple of different colors, like you can get like the milk chocolate is red. The gold ones is white chocolate. You can get the green ones, which are mint chocolate, and throw in some other flavor chocolates in there. The Snickerdoodle chocolate, amazing. At
Mhm.
Lindt Chocolates, amazing. You should see which one is near you, honestly. But the 300 one for $75 is only online. Can't do it in the store. But anyways, so that's my rant about Ghirardelli. Tourist spot, overrated.
Did you end
Nice
up buying
place.
any from Ghirardelli?
What's that?
Did you end up buying any chocolate from
Of
Ghirardelli?
course I bought it, but I didn't say that I didn't buy it. My problem is that they had flavors. I'm going to tell you, I tried a new flavor. They had this candied apple one. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's basically chocolate with a caramel center, but it tastes like a candy because it's a little. It's the caramel is infused with an apple flavor to it,
Yeah.
so it's good. Yeah, but the problem is I ended up buying a pound and a half. Was I angry afterwards? I was, but guess what I
Yeah.
did with them? Well, guess what I did with the chocolates?
You ate them.
Oh no, I had a few. I just tasted the ones that I've never tried before. Like
Oh, okay.
they do
You
like the first time ever I've seen they do a Rice Krispie one,
Yeah.
not bad. The Rice Krispies could be a little bit more crispier, but they were okay. Um,
You
oh
gave
no, I
them
gave
away.
them. Oh yeah, to mom.
There you go. Did
Yeah,
mom like them?
she doesn't mind them. She's not a super fan of them, but I also bought her two
Yeah.
boxes of butterscotch candy from C's, and those she gobbled up. So you got
Yeah,
to
I've
take the good
never.
and the bad.
I think years ago I went to Ghirardelli once. I was never a big. I mean, I like in the
Well,
U.S. I like the C's chocolate.
yeah,
Has some good stuff, but to your
but
point, if you go to some of the European chocolate or even Hawaii, I remember 2 years ago when I was on Oahu. There's a company called Lonohana Estate Chocolate. The
yeah,
folks that own it also own, I think, a winery in Napa,
yeah,
and that's all local. Being the whole
yeah,
process, to me, you pay more money,
but yeah,
but
it's a
to
better
me, it's
quality.
it's it's yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like when we went to the Big Island Cookie Company.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
talk about getting a job. Like you have to weigh in and weigh out there. That's the best way I can explain it to you. They say aloha, but then when you eat all their samples, they quickly say
Time
aloha
to go.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah, time to
exactly.
go. Hey, brother, you
Yeah,
gotta go. You have no more food left.
yeah.
But then looping around from chocolate to Greek food, we went down
There
to
we go.
this restaurant in just south of San Francisco, is the town of Burlingame, and it's maybe a half hour drive south of us. South, we were in South San Francisco, so restaurant called Mykonos Meze. Let me tell you about this place. Okay,
Yeah.
this place is A plus plus, number one. I'm going to tell you that right now. It was the bomb. Okay, it's probably one of the best Greek meals I've had, and for us to say that is a big deal because traditionally,
Yeah.
growing up, we never went out for Greek food,
Yeah.
never,
Yeah.
ever. So we're sitting there, and I kind of looked over the menu beforehand, um, just to see what they had, and we already knew we were gonna get the octopodi, the
Mhm.
octopus,
Mhm.
the grilled octopus. Um, and now it's kind of, on the drive down, I was kind of looking at their menu and I'm like, they had a ribeye steak with like Greek potatoes, oven roasted potatoes, and with some side vegetables. It looked pretty good. But I'm gonna tell you, like, first of all, the atmosphere is really great. When we went, it was a little quiet. Thank God we had reservations. Because by the end of our meal, say an hour and a half, 2 hours later, the place was packed. Now
Yeah.
we go in, we get seated. You can obviously tell that the hostess was potentially, she wasn't, they weren't Xeni by any sense of the imagination. Um, but they looked a little mixed, something else in there.
Mhm.
So we sit, we're listening, we're talking, and I believe our waiter's name was Eris. So he's talking and he's like, I'm like, Chris, my wife says, oh, he's Greek, so he goes, oh, okay. So then I see this older gentleman that our waiter goes and talks to, and I'm just, they're not right next to us, but they're close enough you can kind of make out the conversation. And I'm like, this guy's not speaking Greek. And I'm just picking some words up. And I said, this guy's Turkish.
Wow.
So,
Because they were
you
speaking
know,
Turkish?
they were speaking Turkish. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I called the waiter over. I'm like, hey, by any chance, are you Turkish? And he goes, he says, are you Turkish? I said, I asked you first. And he says, well, I believe his father is Turkish and his mother is Greek. I said, oh, okay, all right.
Was he
So we
sorry,
start.
was he defensive when you initially asked him?
No,
Did you get
no,
that
no, no,
sense
no.
or just okay?
Wasn't I think he was just surprised that I overheard the
Right, right,
conversation
right.
and
Got
knew
it.
what, not that I knew what he was speaking, but recognized the language in which they were speaking. So it
Right.
wasn't like uh shock like that. It was almost like um pleasantly surprised was the best way to say it. So we started back and forth and talking. So then she ordered the fish, I ordered the steak. So here they come, and I see them walking. So they have a big plate for her with the fish, and then they're bringing over a cutting board, like a 12 by 18 cutting board. My steak was served to me with my potatoes and vegetables on this cutting board. So the waiter brings it down. And you know how a cutting board has the little grooves in it for the juices,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He goes ahead and pours alcohol through the grooves He goes, "Oh, sit back," and he lights it on fire. And I'm like,
Like a steak
okay.
saganaki.
Almost. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't like the steak was literally on fire, but it was just that, it was a nice presentation, And I almost came out of my mouth, "Oh, this is what Troy must have looked like." But I didn't go down that road. But listen, the food was great, but when they brought out the dessert menu out,
Oh, yeah. Here we
right?
go.
And, they had the typical baklava on there, but I went down, they had the galactic booty on there, which is Gallico Burico. And they had some other, they had the risogalo on there, which is rice pudding, which you typically a lot of places don't do. Um, and then they had the ice creams, which was the baklava ice cream. So I started talking to him. So I said, what? Most of the things they did make on site, he told me the ones that they didn't make. With regards to the baklava ice cream, he tells me that they make that fresh daily or every other day. So it's made pretty
Yeah.
consistently. Um, so I said to him, "Oh, I said I can't decide between the Gallico Burico and the ice cream and the baklava ice cream." He says, "Oh, well, the Gallico Burico comes with vanilla ice cream. I'll just throw a scoop of
The baklava.
the baklava." I said, "Perfect." I didn't know what to expect because in my mind I know what Gallico Burico looks like, right?
Yeah.
So it comes in, with like the phyllo dough, but the phyllo doughs are almost like strips of them.
Right.
So imagine like an 8-inch by 2-inch strip, two of them, with almost like I think it was like a strawberry um jam of sort on top of it. So, I cut into it, delicious. Just
Wow.
A plus plus. But so I said to her, "Hey, try that." I said, "Hey, pass the plate to her. I'm like, hey, try this." She's like, "Oh, not too bad." She's not a big fan of the custard because you know how it's custard filling inside,
Yeah.
but she liked it. So
Right.
then I took a scoop of the ice cream. Listen, we were going to fight over this ice cream. It was one scoop. When I tell you delicious, delicious. Absolutely amazing. Just amazing. It's encrusted. I'm not sure what they encrusted it with, but this thing was, if Turkey Hill put this out
Could
and
you
called
imagine?
it like
Yeah.
Mediterranean delight, I would clean them out. I would clean them out because it was that good. And we said next time we're in San Francisco, definitely going back. Um, as a matter of fact, once we publish this, I'm actually gonna take a snippet of the conversation we're having now, and I'm gonna put it on Instagram because I found their Instagram account, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna post because it's that good. So if you guys want great food just outside of San Francisco in Burlingame, California, Mykonos Meze, great place. I'll post the address in the comment sections below. But yeah, that's pretty much the last 2 weeks. Except there's one more addition to my thing. So, like I told you, I guess this was right after I got back from Cisco. I had the beefsteak at the Greek church.
Oh, that's right. I
So
forgot about that.
so look, well, okay. So it was at St. George's Greek Orthodox Church in Clifton, New Jersey, right off of Route 3. It's on Valley Road. You're welcome for the free advertising. Um, our friend Tom that we grew up with was there, and he arranged for our seating. So his friend Regina, who I told that I'm going to mention them in today's episode, lovely, lovely person. She lives in Fort Lee right now, and her friend Angela. Now, Angela is Italian, but she's slowly converting into the Greek lifestyle. Okay. She has, when I told her about the podcast,
Yeah.
she has informed me that within more or less 24 to 48 hours, she has seen all the episodes.
Wow.
And I told her that I'd mention her in during this episode, and to make sure she because they were going, her and Gina were going to the church tonight for some event. I don't know what the event is,
Yeah.
but I told her, hey, I gave her the how to get in touch, how to pass along the YouTube channel to everybody to see it. But to Angela and Gina, hope you had a great time at church. I also met another gentleman there. His name is Nick. I'm gonna get in touch with him soon. Hopefully, we'll get him on. He directed a movie that he's trying to pass along now on the riots in Newark. So we'll get him on soon enough. But yeah, it was a great time. It was a beefsteak. For those of you who don't know what a beefsteak is, you basically sit down, they serve you some salad, they get a little pasta, and then basically they cook a filet mignon, they slice it, they cut it, and then they serve it to you on French baguettes. And
On
they pass
slices of French baguette.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, it gets a little messy. It's like, but at the end of the day, it's delicious. And you finish off your evening with a ice cream sundae, you know. But and they did a tricky tray esque type of thing. They had like gift baskets and they did a 50-50. But no, it was well done. As kids we used to go to St. George's for Easter. Um
Yeah,
you know,
it's a bigger church than St. Andrews that we used to went to, right? Because it seemed to be a more pomp and circumstance for
yeah,
Easter.
yeah, and but I think, and the nice thing I really liked about it is
Yeah.
I think the priest there's Father Peter.
Yeah.
He went around and hugged everybody, literally, and thanked
Wow.
every single person. At one point in time, we were sitting at the table. Tom was sitting across from me. He comes in and like puts his arm around me like this,
Yeah.
and he's talking to everybody, and I'm like, Father, I can't breathe. Oh, so sorry. But no, it was very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of other events that they passed on to me, and I'm like, listen, there's a lot of events here. I don't know if I can make all these events. It's just a lot. But we'll see. We're gonna try
Yeah.
to make
Very
a few
cool.
of them. But so in a nutshell, that's the last 2 weeks for me. So I went from. So maybe we should name this episode, Ghirardelli to beefsteak or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's is there anything else you want to add? Anything exciting happened over the last
I was
week or
just
so,
going to
Phil?
add. Yeah, I was just going to add really quick. I was up in Boston and I went to a Greek restaurant. It's
Oh, did
actually
you?
it's
What was the
actually
name
in
of it?
Uzuri. It's called Committee.
Committee?
Um,
Like committee, like
Committee,
the word committee?
like the word committee. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of there's a number of Greek restaurants up there. There's Committee. There's another one called Krasi. There's a couple
Yeah.
of restaurants. There's a restaurant called Greco and so forth. Committee is in Uzuri. So it's the restaurant that you have a taverna, you have an uzuri, and so forth. It's got entrees, it's got some small plates that you share, and typically with uzo and so forth.
Okay.
It was good, great atmosphere. It's in Boston. If you haven't been to Boston recently,
Where in Boston
um,
is it?
it's right in downtown.
Like near the harbor or more
It's
inland?
near Seaport District.
Okay, okay.
It's absolutely. I lived there for 15 years, from 1999 to 2012, and they were doing the big dig and everything. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and it's just a very cool city. It was good. There were some things that I guess I expected. The the owner, who's from Greece, and he's put together a restaurant group to basically support Greek food, but not just from
Mhm.
one particular area, from kind of all over. And so it's a little bit fusion, which is cool. It was good. I think the thing that they didn't have, and I get you don't want to be, we talk about it stereotypical, is there was no ouzo on the menu. I can tell you though, and if you get a chance to go to Boston, especially if you get a chance to go to Krasi, they supposedly have one of the largest Greek um, wine selections in the country.
Hmm.
And we actually, we got some wine and so forth. But they had, Greek French fries with the feta cheese.
Of course, yeah.
They had manti, the
Yep.
pasta. The thing that I love is they had a deconstructed galato burrico. So
Oh, that's
imagine a bowl
interesting.
where they come to you with a bowl, and the
Yeah.
top of it has basically crispy phyllo dough.
Yeah.
And as they put it down, they take a spoon and they mix it
Yeah.
where the filling is underneath.
Yeah.
That was that was that was killer. But again, it was and then the shared dishes that they had octopodi, they had
Hmm.
um, uh, eggplant and so forth was good. But if you get a chance to try that, if you're in the Boston area, really good. And again, a little bit of a fusion across all those restaurants.
You just gave me a great segue with that.
Okay.
Um, as most of you know, when we do the top 5, top 10 lists, he
Yeah.
doesn't know the topics,
I
and
still do
that's done
not because he
purposely.
refuses to tell me.
And this is the first time I'm hearing his weekend story because we haven't really spoken over the
Right.
last 2
For a
weeks,
while because I've been away.
other than the fact that I showed him a picture of the cat hiding. It's like gorillas in the mist.
Yeah.
Um, so our top 5 list. It's top 5, but I'm going to give you what number 6 and number 7 are as well.
Okay.
But for all practices, it's a top 5 list. Our top 5 list for this week are top 5 alcoholic Greek drinks.
Okay.
So great
Okay.
segue, right?
Okay.
So, number 6 on this. Number 7. Let me give you number 7, okay? Number 7 now when we talk Greece, we're talking the islands and everything. This is not just
Yeah.
mainland Greece, okay? Comes from Corfu,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Yeah.
And this drink, I've never heard of this drink. Again, growing up, we weren't we ate our calories. We didn't drink our calories. I mean, we weren't really surrounded with a lot of Greek alcohol. I mean, we knew the ouzos and all, the metaxa and all that, but we weren't really encompassed with a
Well,
lot of Greek wines and stuff like that. And I think because mom didn't like the Greek wines is one reason why, you
right.
know?
And we had the other interesting thing, just a segue.
Yeah.
We had full access from the perspective that if we wanted to taste anything,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Like,
we were older. We're not talking about being 3-year-olds doing this.
yeah.
But we were, if we had to try anything, we tried it. But to your point, it really wasn't
Yeah.
other than
No. We
social.
were given alcohol just so our mother can laugh on how shit faced we'd get early on. But that's a conversation for another time.
Right.
But with
Yeah.
that being said, so number 7. So I'm gonna call these 7 and 6 are honorable mentions for
Okay.
this list. Okay.
Yeah.
So number 7, which I've never heard of before, is a kumquat liqueur that comes out of Corfu.
Really?
Yeah. And it looks like they make a drink out of it. It came from introduced by the British in 1860.
Hmm.
To
Interesting. Okay.
there's a sweeter version um, that's made from the kumquat skins,
Okay.
and there's a more bitter white version which is made from the flesh itself.
Okay.
So looks interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 6 is old reliable metaxa.
Number 6. Yeah.
Yeah, which kind of surprised me a little bit that it was number 6, but um I don't know, I'm just thinking that it must be more because um I think it's more of an acquired taste overall.
I mean, it's a brandy. To
Yeah,
me,
and I
it's
think when you think of Greece, you don't really think of brandy though. You know what I mean?
right.
So let's move on. So number
Okay.
5 on this list.
Okay. Number 5.
Number 5 is chupuro.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So chupuro, if you know, it's a white wine, first created in the 14th century by Greek Orthodox monks. Why is it monks are always making wine?
I don't know. And that's not just for Greeks, right? That's
No,
kind
it
of,
goes everywhere. Like the German monks made Riesling.
yeah.
So it's like, again, is there like a part of the Bible we didn't get?
Well, just think it's wine, beer, alcohol,
Yeah.
it's cheese,
Yeah.
and then bread, because I think the original wasn't the original pretzel um supposed to represent crossed arms, which
Yes.
is why it's
Yes.
shaped that way.
Correct.
And yeah.
Correct. Yes. But it makes me wonder. Maybe now we know the significance
Yeah.
of why so many monks. So the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm just saying, you
Yeah.
know, have set a table for 6. No, 3 more. It's
Yeah.
9. So that's Chipuro is number 5. Okay.
Okay.
So number 4 is Tentura.
Uh,
So it's made it's from Patras, which is a Greek Patras is a Greek port. Okay, 15th century is a aromatic liqueur. Okay,
okay.
fermented citrus fruit, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, and mandarin. So again, a little citrusy drink. Never had it. I just reading it. I want to
It
go out. I want to go out there and find it.
yeah. It almost sounds like it's
It sounds
like
medicinal
well,
in a
that's what I was
way.
going to say. I was exactly what I was going to say. It sounds like an Italian Amaro, which
Okay.
every little village has one, and that's made
Yeah.
from distilled. There's everything from distilled artichokes to different herbs
Yeah.
that's supposed to settle the stomach after you eat.
Yeah. But interesting. Sounds good.
Okay. Okay.
Number 3 is it's called Chikudia.
Okay.
So I'm like, what? This comes from Crete,
Okay.
all right. So, but I'm sorry. I'm like,
Colloquially.
thank you,
Yes.
thank you. You know, it's known as raki.
Oh wow.
Okay. So again, use excellent digestive. That's what it's used for.
So,
Uh,
so
traditionally served with fruits or Greek sweet desserts.
so that's interesting
Uh,
because we kind of use raki and uzo interchangeably.
but it's not though.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
That's the
saying.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Same flavor, but not really.
Huh. Did not know that. Okay.
Uh, so this is made from the fermented grape. Uh, what is it? Pomace? Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Pomace. Yeah, leftover from the winemaking process.
Okay. Cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so number 3 is Chukudia. Number 2 is Mastikia.
Okay.
Okay, which is popular, made from the resin derived from mastic trees.
Yeah.
Uh, it has a herbal pine aftertaste. I guess so. It has its own flavor. I wouldn't call it more herbal than pine. I don't go around eating pine nuts or like pine trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know how that comes,
Yeah.
but it does have its own distinct
Sure.
taste to it.
Yeah.
Um derived from the Chios. It's from Chios, from the island of
Chios.
Chios, right?
Chios.
So yeah, what is it?
Chios.
What did I say? Chios?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been having too many. Listen, I'm having
It's
like
also where Cheetos come from the island of Chios.
no, that's where chalupas come from. So let's get it right, okay?
Yeah.
And the last one, I'll let you guess what number 1 is.
Uzo.
You got it.
Yeah. It's interesting that I. So if you had me guess, I would have said Regina, which is another wine.
Now
But
I'm not telling you that it's not on here.
right.
If I look down this list,
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be. I don't even think it made. It almost is like has its own list for that.
Yeah.
Like Greek. This is more liqueurs. Mostly liqueur. So, but ouzo, ouzo's ouzo. And ouzo, of course, is made. Um, if people never had it before, if you've never had ouzo, it tastes very similar to sambuca.
Without the
That's
sweetness.
because the aniseed in it.
Yeah.
But it's made with fennel, corianders in it. Um, it's funny because it was first made when you think about it. We don't really think when we drink these things, like historically speaking, it's not really that antiquated
Mm-hmm.
because it came to be in the late to mid 1850s in Greece.
Mm.
So it's okay, maybe it's less than 150, 170 years old only. So that's kind of interesting, I think moonshine's been around longer than that. Especially when you looked at some of the other drinks we talked about, they were 14th, 15th century, like. And when I read these things, and And I'm just reading. It says the best way ouzo is served is 1 part water to 1 part ouzo poured over ice,
Hmm.
which is referred to as when you mix the water. And what happens to the water, to the ouzo, when you add water?
It becomes cloudy.
And do you know what that's referred to?
What's it referred to?
Lion's milk.
Lion's milk.
Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Yeah, it's called lion's milk because it gives you courage.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, remember growing up, our grandfather Papu used to say, and I'm loosely translating, that you have to know the demeanor, the personality of the person you're drinking with before you start into an evening of ouzo, because it'll make you
Yeah.
crazy. So going back to Raki is interesting because there are other countries like Israel. I have a friend of mine who's here in Tucson, who's a Jewish French doctor. One of his parents is from Morocco, the other is from Tel Aviv, I believe. And
Yeah.
he had invited me over, and he brought the Israeli version of Raki. Now, to me, when I had it, it tasted just like what we're
Okay.
used to, but it's interesting that there seems to be similar variations in other parts of
Well, it's very obviously it's very
right,
regional
right,
when you think about it.
right. Yep.
I don't think I don't think they're sitting in Israel right now drinking it, but who knows?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe after every missile, every missile bomb they drop over, you know, in Lebanon, they're like, well, one wrap for me, let's do it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so just a quick review. Number 5 is Chupuro. Number 4 is Tentura. Number 3 is Chicudia. Number 2 is Mastikia. And number 1 is Uzo. That's the top 5 list for this week.
Awesome.
So moving forward now, see, we're slowly, we talked about the liquor. Now we're going to talk to, with Thanksgiving right around the corner,
Yeah.
I think we need just to revisit, maybe re-emphasize the tradition of not only Thanksgiving, but also our tradition
Hmm.
of a Greek Thanksgiving. Now,
Right.
um, the Greek comedian Basil has done a skit about this, and I'm going to tell you, it's mostly true.
Yeah.
How growing up we would have a traditional Thanksgiving by all means, all the trimmings. However, why don't you
Yeah.
lay out there what additional items did we have that maybe back there on those, the Indians and the pilgrims who came over on the Mayflower may most likely didn't
Didn't
have.
have. Yeah. Yeah. So we had the turkey and the mashed potatoes and all that, and that's table stakes. And at least if you ask our mother, this is easy. But then on top of it, you would throw down maybe the taramo salata. You would have maybe you'd have some lamb's brains thrown on the table. I remember having some visitors that
Now, that was always served in a bowl with some sort of.
there's a little olive oil on top.
No, yeah, but wasn't there some sort of like greeny leafy thing that it was served on top of? Was it like dill or something like that? I thought there was something on
Maybe
top of that,
or
or in it.
parsley. I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to
Maybe
think.
parsley. Maybe at a bed of parsley.
Yeah, yeah. So you'd
Yeah.
you'd have that, um, and then you can kind of go down the list in terms of the traditional uh, Greek food, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
that would also be there. So needless to say, and we had a dining room table that opened. I mean, we must have had 24 people, and then the kitchen was for the kids, if you will.
Mm.
But it was literally a combination. It was hybrid between every classic Greek
Yeah.
and every classic for Thanksgiving dessert. It depended. One of the things that our mother, which I don't think she's made recently, is she used to make profiterole, which my friends at the restaurant up in Boston, by the way, actually it wasn't in Boston. Another restaurant I just went to recently had that on the menu. It's not profiterole isn't specifically Greeks. The French
No.
have it, but essentially, you know, um, mom used to make the puff pastry and then fill it with cream and then cover it with chocolate. And it was definitely a hit in terms of dessert,
Yeah.
but
Just like the Pilgrims.
just like, but it was,
But I
yeah,
remember, she hated making. I think because of the whole the cinnamon aspect of things, she hated making like I don't remember ever her making like pasticcio
no, I agree with you.
ever, and I think there's the whole cinnamon thing in it. Um, but she would make a lasagna. I remember lasagna at Thanksgiving. I remember there wasn't yummy.
More traditional lasagna is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
traditional
yeah,
lasagna, yeah. But there wasn't like yummy stuff, but there were still fried eggplants. There was fried peppers. You'd have the olive. You've had your basturma. You'd have
yeah.
the sujuk there.
Cassetti.
All the cassetti, the feta cheese, they were all there. Again, just like the pilgrims.
Yeah,
And but I think it's just what's funny now is you look at a lot of these travel sites and you see people who are traveling outside the United States for Thanksgiving.
right.
So take a couple of days. And you know what really amazes me is, and this is kind of a rhetorical question, and if let me know if you guys who are listening, what your thoughts are on this. Thanksgiving is an American holiday, but why do people who are traveling outside of this country post articles? Where can I get Thanksgiving dinner
Yeah,
in XYZ country? I just don't understand that. Now, some countries will pander a little bit and be like, we'll create a Thanksgiving dinner for you. But I just don't understand that. Like, if you're going to travel for Thanksgiving, no, you may not get a Thanksgiving. Just enjoy the meals that that country is serving you.
yeah,
It's like traveling abroad and they just happen to have some American restaurants, and you go and you eat at those American restaurants. Makes no sense,
yeah.
you know?
And when you think about it, and this is just my opinion, when you think about the typical traditional food for Thanksgiving, which
Mhm.
because of how Thanksgiving started in this country and so forth, we continue that tradition. When I compare them to Greek cuisine or some of the other world cuisines,
Mhm.
it's kind of boring, right? I
Yep.
mean, we already have people
Yep.
that don't like turkey because it's too dry.
Yep.
And part of that has to do with how you cook it, by the way, because I know
Sure.
I brine, we probably do the same thing. You brine the turkey and it's juicy. But in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
things, you've got mashed potatoes, you have
Yeah.
stuffing, and so forth. So in the grand scheme of things, and I think this is kind of even when you ask mom about it, she'll say, "Yeah, I make it because it's Thanksgiving and that's what you
Yeah.
do." But in terms of it being exciting, eh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
I think it's in retrospect when you think about Thanksgiving, it's less about, when you think about European countries growing up, especially when you think about Greek families, you talk about family and stuff like that. Eating together is more the commonplace than not. Where in the United States, to get people to sit together and have dinner is more of the bigger thing. Because a lot of these people,
oh,
that's the only time of the year, maybe that and Christmas, they
right.
actually sit down together and have a meal together.
That and
So,
also the length of time that you spend eating together, right? We know there's a
yeah,
lot of places like even tavernas and even these usuries and other type of restaurants. If you go to Greece,
yeah,
nobody's coming up to you and saying, "Hey, we need the table. You got to go." Or at least
yeah,
I've never
exactly.
experienced it. I don't think you have,
Yeah,
because
no,
the idea is you go and you could be there for 3 hours, and it's
yeah,
not like you're sitting and not ordering anything. It's just a
yeah,
different pace of eating and
yeah,
drinking. Yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
definitely. So we would love to hear, like I said, to those of you listening, uh, for Thanksgiving, What do you guys make for what's your Greek aspect of Thanksgiving?
Right.
And if you're in Greece, if you're watching this in Greece or you're traveling Greece during Thanksgiving, what did you have on Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Did you have a naki, little
Yeah.
patatas on the side? Like, I want to know. Like,
Yeah.
and there's not, and the thing is, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. There's no wrong answers.
Again,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no wrong answers because I think there's a tradition of turkey, but you don't need to have, again, it's more about eating with family than it is about what you're eating. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're a family of vegetarians, you're not having turkey. You're having tofu flavored whatever. But yeah. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. Again, let us know what you're having. And finally, today we're kind of pushing up against the time here, but real quick, why don't you talk about the latest technology that's helping people see the sites of antiquity, specifically the Acropolis, in a completely new light.
Yeah. So, under the auspices of I think it was the Greek ministry, um, the there's an app that you can download called Chronos, that basically uses what's called augmented reality. And for those that are just not familiar with it, you may have seen these applications. It's where you can turn on the camera on your phone, and then through an app that you're using, it'll overlay another image on top of it. And so, what this application is trying to do is create an engaging, immersive experience where if you go to the Acropolis or you go to any of the historical sites in Greece and you point your camera to it and you turn on this app, it will show you what the site originally looked like. So, for example, there's marble sculptures that were removed from the temple like the Parthenon 200 years ago, and are currently in the British Museum in London. Now, Greece requested a long time ago, and we see the same thing. I think when Egypt, with some of that archaeology there, they requested it be returned. But in the meantime, you can use the app to see what it looked like before it was removed. So it's Greece's culinary ministry that's basically supporting this. I haven't downloaded it yet. I'm supposed to go to Greece in 2025. That I'd love to try it. It's available on Google Play. I didn't check if it's on Apple, um, but yeah, it's pretty neat what the technology allows you to see that normally, and if you've seen the Acropolis, I've seen it not in the app, but there's some sites online that have done the same. And you see what that site looked like. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. The funny thing is about this, I can see a lot of people. People are going to be there on their phone looking at this. And you know how it is when people cross the street while they're looking at their phones? Listen, listen, folks. Have a little cognitive about your space around
Right.
you. Okay.
Right.
Listen, the Acropolis can get very busy.
Yeah.
Don't be walking around your phone being like, oh, look at this, look at that, and then bumping into everybody, because I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Be cognitive of the people around you and be safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're hoping we're going to go next year, and I'm going to see what it looks like. I mean, it's unfortunate that there isn't more of that. I understand why they use the Acropolis, because it's probably one of the most popular,
Attractions.
yeah, for tourists. But I would also love to see something like that in Egypt or any other site of antiquities like that. Um, Even in Rome, you could do like the Roman Colosseum. You go there. I mean, it'd be kind of funny, like you do like the Roman Colosseum, and you can click on like different aspects of it. So when they had gladiator fights, it looked like this.
Yeah.
When they actually filled it up with water to have sea battles on there, it looked like this.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of different applications that can um, potentially be used with.
Yeah, and the
But
other aspect of what you see, just to touch on that, like again, if you talk about the Acropolis, and there's a whole slew of sites, by the way. We talked about the Acropolis and the Parthenon and so forth, but at this app, there's a whole bunch all over Greece. But one of the other things to me that always blows me away is to see what everything was painted. Because right now you
Hmm.
look at it in sort of monochrome. Same with the pyramids, right? You don't
Yeah,
realize
yeah,
that the pyramids, the what was it, limestone, I think, on the outside, they were white. They glistened
yeah,
when they were originally built. So good stuff.
yeah. So one last note before we wrap it up here. Just I'm going to circle back to your Thanksgiving dinner. I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. There's this mashed potato company called Idahoan.
Oh boy.
It's available across the United States. Okay. Happened to pick it up. They make a chicken broth version of this mashed potatoes. We bought it the other day. See what it tastes like. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I like freshly made mashed potatoes. Buy the instant, just out of convenience.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I made this stuff and I'm like, okay, looked like mashed potatoes. But the minute I tasted it, I'm going to tell you something, folks. This is, if you like KFC, this is KFC mashed potatoes in an instant form. If you like those mashed potatoes, get yourself a little gravy and eat them. They're delicious. I told you to go buy them.
I know you did.
I told you where to buy them.
You did.
You need to try it. Now, my problem with this, I prefer Popeye's chicken over KFC. So buy your Popeye's chicken.
Yeah.
Get the Idahoan chicken broth. You will not be disappointed. It's that good. I almost feel like going to Walmart because most Walmart sell them and cleaning them out. That's how good it is. That's how good it is. But again, I digress. So listen,
Excellent.
folks. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Please share with us your Thanksgiving meals.
Yeah.
Uh, and until we see you again, I am Petraki.
And I'm Soto.
Take care.
Yes.